So, welcome back to another action-packed episode of Confessions of a Shop Owner. We're just kind of hanging out, talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of automotive nirvana. And we have with us tonight Matt Fanslow, who has a much more mature and much more well thought out, established
Definitely.
podcast.
He does not know me very well.
I'm just trying, honestly, to mooch off of some of your coattails is what this amounts to.
Oh. They're short. I don't know how much help they'll be.
It's like one of those untuck it shirts.
Yeah, I don't think they even keep my butt clean when I sit down. So,
okay, so we keep coming back to this at the beginning of every episode, and I feel like it's a broken record. And if you haven't listened, you don't know this, Matt, but I'm sitting on two pillows right now to prop me up
to get his
so that I'm
headspace
centered.
proper.
Because the way my camera setup is and everything, I can't angle it down any further than what it is, and lots of excuses. But anyway, I went and I made sure that my ass was good and clean before I brought my pillows in here, because I didn't want to be sitting on pillows that I sleep on, with like
right.
just ass.
With your dirty ass.
So, that's the key to success in the podcasting business, is make sure your ass is clean.
Yeah, your head hits the pillow, and where's that smell coming from?
Yeah,
that's from
I hope you're running the air conditioning like down below 72. Like,
it smells like a Mercedes in here. What is that? Anyway.
Oh gosh,
we've had our ass kicked by a couple of Mercedes recently, so I feel like it was an appropriate commentary.
I empathize.
Right. Matt, I need a little background on you before we really get into it, because we've met a couple of times at ASTA Expo and whatnot, but
probably not.
You're kind of a big deal. But would you give me like the 60-second version of what makes you as awesome as everybody says you are?
I don't know who says that. I'm waiting for the bill to show up. I don't know. I don't know if I could answer that. I don't even know if I could just improvise something to make and mock it. But
well, you're the shop manager at Riverside Automotive.
I am
in somewhere in Minnesota. Where is that?
Yeah. Red Wing, the home of
Where,
Red Wing shoes and boots.
Oh, I got a pair of Red Wings in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Nice.
I never put two and two together.
Do you have like the hookup? Can you like get us some special discounts?
I can.
No way.
Yeah, you gotta know a guy who knows a guy.
Oh, lots of stuff falls off the back of the truck.
Hopefully it's the right size, because you can't send it back.
Right.
You take what you get. How long have you been at Riverside?
I think this will be my 13th year.
Okay, when are you going to buy it?
I think the gears are in motion right now.
Nice.
So I think sometime this year the things will be in motion that will allow me to acquire 50%, just air quotes.
Go for 51. Go for 51. 50% is the devil.
In the next 5 years.
50%'s the devil.
If you've ever had a 50-50 partner, you know it's true.
Go for more like 30.
47, 48,
and even 49. Go for more like 30 and make it
a handbasket.
Go for like 30 and make the rest of it somebody else's problem.
When I was buying my dad out, I was buying incremental shares of the business. And I got to 49. And he was like, well, it's been fun. The next share that you purchase is going to be 51%, because I will never be a minority owner to you. And so it took me a couple of years. I had to work that out. Anyway. Well, congratulations. I had no idea that that was actually in the works. So that's exciting.
You know what? I wrestle with it a lot. I think I even recorded something to the tune of it where I just wrestle with the whole notion. Like, is it that important that I own it? Part of it was I just didn't, and this is, it's probably just employee. It's the game where I just didn't feel like I wanted to be left out to dry. Meaning, I felt like when I joined the shop in 2012, we were in a little more than a machine shed, the rusted galvanized tin, gravel parking lot, no real waiting room. It was okay, well lit, but other than that, there was no exhaust system. Certainly not air conditioned. Did not have very
So
good
like any
curb
one of my
appeal.
shops, it was just like a total shithole.
It was, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know about your shop so much, but this one, the shithole part is. I mean, it was on borderline. It was also right next to their train tracks. So every time the train came by, which was about 6 times a day, you're pretty sure it was mowing through the building. When I'm talking next to the train tracks, I'm talking 20 feet.
So you're saying that would bring any NVH diagnostics to a screeching halt for a little
It
bit?
brought NVH diagnostics to a stop. It brought phone calls to a stop. It made any conversations in the building stop. And then on
Yeah.
the other side, not 20 feet away, but more like, I don't know, 30 yards away, was the Mississippi
Please say there's
River.
a bar. Oh, Mississippi River.
The Mississippi River.
So
And
we
that
have,
would flood every spring,
oh boy. So we
right?
have railroad tracks 30 feet away, but then we have a bar on the other side. So we call it the customer lounge.
Right.
That's why we
So
don't have to have a nice
doing-
waiting room. We have an entire freaking bar.
it's easy to make suggestions when it's none of your risk. My risk was
Sure.
the shop goes under and I got to go find another job. So it's easy to kind of armchair quarterback it. But
Mhm.
I felt like I showed up with a lot of knowledge picked up from IETN, interacting with other shop owners, successful shop owners. When I worked for Pico or Craig Technologies, going to all the trade shows, rubbing elbows with a lot of successful shop owners, like there's certain things that works somewhat universally. Let's just bring this to the table. And I felt over the years I've become an integral part to us moving into a 10,000 square foot shop, not brand new. We bought it. And increasing car counts, increasing the size. Because when I started, it was just the owner, another tech, and I. And now
Mhm.
I think we're 7, 8 of us. And going from, maybe a couple 100,000 a year. I don't think we quite hit that. Somewhere around, it's probably just under 200,000 a year to now, we're going to try to punch past 2 million. And I don't deserve all the credit. He deserves a ton of credit for letting me do a lot of the stuff I did.
Well, you've made him a
and
lot of
and
money.
following. What's that?
You've made him a lot of money by growing his business.
Yeah, and I struggle to associate any of that. I hate to try to associate it. I had X amount of percentage effect on this. I had this net benefit. I'd rather he do that, which is setting up for disaster. Me specifically, but yeah, I just felt like I told him I just don't want to be hung out to dry. If you just sell this place, then I could be totally SOL and starting from the beginning. That would kind of suck. And I don't know if it's necessarily wrong of you to do that or morally wrong. Like, of course, it affects me, so I find it to be morally wrong. I don't know if that's technically true, but
I mean, you can negotiate negotiate anything that both of you will agree upon, right? But
right,
rather than your next compensation increase, you get a contractual first right of refusal if he ever decides to sell the business, or maybe you give him $20,000 and that gives you exclusive right to purchase the business over the next decade, and that $20,000 goes towards the purchase price if ever you execute it, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, you can be creative about that.
yeah. So I think I took him aside and explained that, and he was cool. I think he feels like I might have leverage where I could bail and move on. I don't know. But yeah, I think he sympathized greatly. And yeah, I think he's just helping build in protections where that's not the case. And then hopefully putting me in a very good position to succeed after the fact. Because, it's fine. Here you've built this up, helped to build this up. Sorry, you've helped
Mhm.
build this up. And now I'm going to hand it to you. And the overhead's crushing. And all the years of success
he's
he
not
had
gonna
was,
he's not gonna hand it to you, is he? He's gonna sell it to you, right?
I don't think he's handing me anything, but yeah.
That's the risk that I've seen so many integral key employees get burned by over the years, is they are the reason that the business is successful, and they've expressed to the owner for years that they want to buy it. And the owner says, absolutely, absolutely, just a couple more years. But every year the owner makes more money than they did last year because that integral employee is doing a great job. So why would they sell it? And then when it gets time where the rubber meets the road, they're like, and that burns down the relationship. And then that key individual leaves and goes and does something else. And then the business falls apart. It's bad for everybody.
And I think that's what was explained to him. So he, on a whim, somebody stops in the shop. They're a business analyst, and they had something to sell. They get to talking to him, and he decides to have them come in and analyze it. Primarily, he wants to know what it's worth. And I know this to be true because the guy that came in, the analyst that did it, pulled me aside and said,
right,
he's ready to concede an awful lot for you to be able to take over and make a go of it. So I know I think his heart's in the right place. The analyst went around to other shops and even restaurants on his breaks and asked people about the shop, what makes it good, what makes it bad, blah, blah, blah. And I guess my name kept coming up to where he took my boss aside and said, this is like a key component. This doesn't work so good without him. It's not worth much if he's not with it. If somebody were to swoop in and want to buy the place, if they do any sort of research and find out he's a key component, the value of the business is going to be related to him, which is a weird thing to hear, right? That's just odd.
They don't even realize that you got too much shit and it ain't worth moving anyways.
The value of most small businesses is tied directly to its key employees, right?
Yeah, I just, it's hard for me to look at the shop as anything but an organism. There's just a bunch of symbiotic systems, including the clients, that have to work together for that thing to make a go of it. And where I struggle is associating value. What this person means, what this person means. Is this person expendable? Is this person not expendable? And I have a tough time thinking in those terms.
Hey there. I'm going to tell you about something that has completely transformed how I run my shop, TechMetric. As a 20-year shop owner, outdated systems used to slow us down. Everything was clunky, from check-in to estimate building to customer updates. It all felt just super inefficient. Switching to TechMetric has changed everything. With TechMetric, you get a powerful shop management system that includes DVI, quick and easy estimate building, inventory management, real-time reporting, amazing customer communication, and it's really easy for your employees to learn how to use the software. I'm talking like a one-day learning curve. On top of that, TechMetric has tons of other tools to make you an even better operator. Stuff like integrated payments with buy now, pay later options is a huge asset. Ask me how I know. And recently, they've added a CRM component with their partnership with Shop Genie, which I'm a happy Shop Genie customer already. So I'm super excited about that. Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors at play here, but I want to give you some facts about my business since I made the change to TechMetric. In September of 2020, when I switched to TechMetric, my ARO was $293. In September of 2024, we were $916. That's over 300% growth. Now, I'm not saying that TechMetric created all of that change, but I'm 100% saying that I couldn't have come this far without TechMetric. It's a key factor in our growth and success. If you're ready to level up your shop, TechMetric has everything you need: productivity, revenue, customer experience. Measure up by every measure with TechMetric. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more.
Sure. I'll tell you what, I tried to sub in and put a strut in a 20-year-old rusty Ford today, and we have a lot of indispensable people all of a sudden in my mind because I do not feel like doing that shit again. That freaking sucks. I'm like, holy crap, I used to be really good at this. I used to put the birth control gun. It was 07 Ford 500 that's been sitting in the tall grass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I say
right.
I would do this?
You're 172 episodes into your podcast?
I lost count after 2, but yeah.
Holy cow. Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z.
Yeah.
Part of the
Maybe
Aftermarket Radio Network.
I've been really debating about changing the name.
What do you want to go to? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah. It's long, but something like Brian Pollock really likes this.
Shit you should
I don't know.
Shit you should listen to. Yeah. Shit you should listen to.
I was kind of thinking of something of the tune of Automotive Field Theory.
That sounds like some heavy shit.
I just diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z. Diagnosing is not necessarily related directly to automotive. Aftermarket, we think of the aftermarket as automotive related, but it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
I get the name. You know, it's trying to encompass everything that gets talked about, and I have wide range of interests, and I try to talk about you name it, from technical to not technical.
The diagnosis is terminal. We're fucked. Now, if we get to the root causes, how much time you got, right? I can't wait.
Everything's fine on the qualified technician end. Everything's just fine. Yeah, there's certain people who are fucked, but it ain't the guys that can do the job.
The pendulum has swung. The power dynamic has changed in the last decade.
Yes.
Yeah, I worry about that because when the pendulum was way the other way, we did not like how that was leveraged against us. Now that it's over in our court,
you're going to spend
they don't seem to have any problems leveraging power now. And
yeah,
the pendulum will swing back. It always does.
Rules for me, but not for thee. I get that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with how complicated things are getting. Not necessarily complicated, but so many more systems on cars, and what it takes to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing
the amount
an
of time that it will take for that pendulum to swing back. Everybody who's in it right now will be retired.
Probably.
You think it'll be that long, Mike?
I think it'll be 15 years, 20 years.
Really? I'm going to work on cars till I'm dead.
A whole other generation of competent technicians. We're not talking about lubies. We're talking about.
I have to work on cars till I'm dead.
Just to pay off the scam.
There's really no alternative. Yeah, I know. I keep buying shit. When are you going to use this? Well, if I get this 2011 Jetta in, this will come in handy.
How often do you get 2011 Jettas in Minnesota?
Never for that.
Yeah, once I get that tool, never again.
Yeah, that will be the final one.
That's the idea, man.
That's why we got to get Zentry.
We won't
have to worry about Mercedes anymore.
Yeah,
get them anymore.
We get a Zent. I've been using Team Zentry forever. If I get a real one, and no, I'm not talking about clone Zentry for all the haters. I'm talking about iScan 3. You gotta watch. You say Team Zentry. No, you'll get yourself on a banned list. I ain't never seen no clone Zentry. I mean, I seen some on Alibaba when I was going through my looking at stuff, but I ain't never had one in my hands.
Or you're trying to figure out how to buy it legitimately, and then all the ones on eBay pop up for a couple $100.
Yeah, right. 219 Zentry. First thing is Team $219.
Isn't there like a Zentry 2 or a new generation coming out or something?
4. Well, they're sundowning 3. Okay. So in May, all the 3 kits are going to be no good. So it'll be 4. Well, 4 is out now.
It's like $25,000 or something. What is it?
I think it went up quite a bit, and the subscription time went down. So it used to be like $27,000 for the kit with the interface and tablet, but that was 4 years of updates, which makes it a little more palatable. But I've heard since that the time frame has dropped from 4 years to more like 3.5.
Yeah.
Shrinkflation.
Yeah.
Which it kind of was 3.5 at one time because your subscription started the moment you ordered, and if it took them 4 months to get it to you, it was 4 months out of your subscription.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some German shit right there.
Yeah, that's excessively German. It is the most soup Nazi thing you've ever seen. Like literally,
you can't
like
joke
soup
around
Nazi.
with the Nazi word right now. It's a very sensitive time.
Is it?
Just because Elon waved.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking about Seinfeld.
He's like, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
Yeah.
Sorry. So hey, Brian told me earlier that you think that we don't charge enough for testing and inspection, or we don't pay enough for testing and inspection. Would you say that is accurate?
I don't know if I said that.
I
said,
guarantee you that you think I don't charge enough, but that's me specifically.
No, I've specifically said that you do charge. You just don't tell people they're being charged. It's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you've done.
No, just everybody pays for your free testing.
Yeah, you don't tell people they're being charged. I didn't say people are being charged for their testing. I just said they're being charged for testing in general.
You've socialized diagnostics.
Yes, and it's no different than should I charge extra for should I charge an extra 3% for credit card processing? No, you shouldn't. Build it into your rate. Should I charge extra for
socialized
shuttle
diagnostics?
Service? Hey, everybody. I wanted to take a minute to tell you about the coaching organization I've been involved with for, over 20 years now, Elite. Elite Worldwide, they don't give you a one-size-fits-all solution. They tailor the coaching specifically to you and your shop. They pair you with an experienced coach who is either a current or a former shop owner, and they turn strategies into actual action and accountability and results. Whether it's improving your service advisor's sales, growing your shop, growing to multiple locations, they really have you covered. They've got training for all of those things. Clients of Elite really see results, higher profits, stronger teams, a better work-life balance. If you're ready to take the next step, visit eliteworldwide.com to schedule your discovery session. That's eliteworldwide.com to start working on your business rather than in it. Tell them that you heard about them on Confessions of a Shop Owner so that I get a pat on the back or maybe a box of chocolates or something. That would be awesome. Thanks.
Every ball joint installed is paying for a little bit of oscilloscope time. They just don't know
North
it.
Carolina, Carfix U.
Yeah.
Tonight's beverage is Noah's Mill, genuine bourbon whiskey made in the hills of Kentucky. This is a barrel batch, 57.15% alcohol.
Oh wow, that's high end.
Tasty.
I'm drinking SoCo and 7-Up because I was called Rural Joe, so I'm going to drink white trash type of drinks. No,
that is your new name. You need to change it on there from Brian Pollock to Rural Joe. Thank you, Lola Schmidt. So
all I did was ask about Google reviews and why everybody's so wound up, and now I'm Rural Joe.
Maybe not surprising.
I'm all hopped up on Diet Mountain Dew.
I'm on Diet Mountain Dew. Bunch of ingredients I can't pronounce, but it's not raw sugar. So
there you go.
So what's up with how we don't charge appropriately for testing?
But it's probably not charging appropriately for anything when it really boils down to it.
That's probably like
however people got it structured is how they got it structured. And if you're not profitable, you're not profitable. It doesn't really matter if you're not charging for Diag or you are charging for Diag or your rate's too low or you're not charging enough hours or you're not putting people in the best position to be productive, whatever. Just either you are or you're not. If you're not charging specifically for Diag and yet you're profitable and you can afford the proper equipment and pay your people and bills and all that, who's to say what's right or wrong? Now it's just,
this is the greatest semantics. Day of Mike's life right now.
Who's
it's just semantics,
what's right,
right?
or wrong? Yeah.
Everybody
on the internet
is the greatest day of Mike's life right now.
Anybody who does it differently from the way that
Brand
X does it is clearly an idiot or a crook.
I'm pretty sure I've made posts where, I've played with the idea of just not charging labor. There's just no labor line. and just charge for parts. But the markup is going to be insane, or quote unquote insane, because you got to make money.
Well,
or we'll sell the parts to you at cost. I'll sell them to you for the same price I paid for them. But now my labor rate is either going way up, or the amount of hours, time
I'll
to
show you
do
my
it's
parts
going up.
invoices. You know,
What's up?
I think that's one of the things that I empower my really experienced and comfortable advisors to say when customers really start pushing hard for a parts and labor breakdown. It's just, what do you want the parts to be? Okay, that's what they are. Job price is still the same. Wait, what do you want the labor
That's
to
what
be?
they are.
That's what the labor price is.
You
What's
sound
your
like
labor
that
rate? What do
plumber
you
on
want?
Instagram.
Out the door pricing by Carfix.
What do you want the labor to be? Free? Okay, labor's free. It's still $1,200 to do this repair.
Oh, that's
The
funny.
shop fees are a bitch on this job. Waste disposal on that alternator.
Waste disposal on
the environmental fees are like $2,000.
So, yeah,
it's actually, we're doing the entire job for free. We're just charging you for the disposal. Yeah. Remember that prank deal where they call the lady and they're like, the cigarette lighter is missing and the part's free, but it's like $3,000 to put it in. It was like a radio station back in the day. It was hilarious.
Man. So, how are things at the shop though, Matt?
Busy.
Good.
Yeah. So I'll get phone calls or messages about, whatever, just shoot the breeze or advice about management or price structuring or marketing or whatever. And I struggle because I feel like Riverside's in a fairly unique situation where geographically we're located roughly an hour's drive south of a large metropolitan area, actually to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and roughly an hour drive north of another metropolitan area, Rochester, where in Red Wing, the population's roughly 20,000 people. We have GM, Ford, Chrysler dealers. That's it. Any other car line, it's pretty much an hour drive to the north or an hour drive to the south to get any dealer support. So that immediately puts me in a very good
lucrative position.
Right. Now, because
turns out there's more than one rural Joe.
Right. A lot because I'm just kind of tapped into the matrix, if you will, just following along, whether that was on IETN or Diagnostic Network or the many, many, many Facebook groups that I'm now aware that I can have a J2534 box, some subscriptions, and I have OE level tooling for a lot of car lines. And then if I spend some money on some other stuff, I'm kind of the only game in town. So if you have a programming issue on a Honda, where else are you going to go other than an hour north or an hour south? So same with the ADAS it's just so many things. So it's hard to say to somebody that's in, Chicagoland area where there's mobile techs, there's other shops, there's lots of people kind of after that very same piece of pie to do what I say, do what I did. I don't know that it works so good.
Yeah.
I get away
what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Take it to Joe Schmoes and get it fixed? Well, when there's 2 million people in the city and there's 27 shops in the next 12 blocks, yeah, they will take it to Joe Schmo. They might have to take to 3 of them, but there's 27 of them, so they'll get it figured out.
Well, and then when you find that bad ground, you can charge them $3,000, right?
Right.
$3,001.
Yeah, so that helps immensely.
Yeah.
So virtually every day, and I will say, not counting the collision shops, every day I have really at minimum 1-2 vehicles in my bay from another repair shop locally for programming, for a diagnostic opinion or something like that, or figure out why the programming didn't fix the issue, stuff like that.
So, like, Brian, you are the guy in your town. If nobody else can fix it, that's you take it to Riverside.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's a point of pride for so many people in the circles that do the shows and the training events and the podcasts and everything else, is to be the guy, right? That's good for the ego.
It can be. You're just not allowed to screw up. Like,
Yeah,
you're not allowed
until the
to
car
make
freaking
mistakes.
sucks.
You know, like it just seems like if I would make a misdiagnosis or not figure something out in a timely manner, then I'm almost shamed over it. You know.
Does the whole
And
shop
You do the most of the
wait for you to
shaming,
make a
right?
mistake?
Oh God, they like it's a
Oh
big
my
deal.
gosh, I love it. I love it. My favorite part is when you diaged it right and the guy botched the install and everybody's
Yeah.
looking and you're like, what? This freaking Ray Charles put this freaking sensor in? What is going on here? You freaking, you drilled through the tone ring when you were extracting the old ABS sensor. Turns out I did diag it right. You just took the old drill bit to her.
Why do you have to drill them out? Just slide it out, right?
Yeah, I wish.
Mike. Oh my gosh.
You Southern guys.
You Southern boys.
You know what? I got one of my techs moved down from Iowa, and he loves that there's no rust, right? And another one moved from Ohio, loves that there's no rust. I get it. I did an interview today, dude who's moving from Ohio. There's an owner that posted in ASOG that
I saw that.
Yeah. And I was like, don't mind if I do. And I had a nice little conversation with him. He's coming down next month. Dude had 100 hours of CE last year. I support that shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's impressive.
So I like that a lot. You know, you hear somebody says that, you're like, okay, that's somebody that I want on my team. You know.
Yep.
They're taking their craft seriously. So
Mike's a little aggressive when it comes to hiring, Matt. He's probably you're one of the more aggressive people. Well, I don't know a lot of people, but you're one of the more aggressive that I know when it comes to hiring.
So of the 7 people you know, I'm in the top 50%.
Yes. You're in the top 3.5. Yeah, you're pretty aggressive.
Well, I've seen a lot of like stuff, people posting, social media, professional networks. I think there's been podcasts on it about future proofing, and it's kind of it's a weird idea to me because as management, there's really only so much you can do. You know what I mean? Like, I got to be careful, I suppose, how I phrase all this, but you can have all the guidelines and the rules and the SOPs and all that. But if you don't have the right people, forget about it. You can send them all the training, but if they don't really care to be there, or they're just not the type to absorb it, or like they started out really passionate and they were that tech, or that employee, really, they just inhaled information, retained it, cared about it, ate it, lived it. And then they got a wife, they got a kid, they got boats, they got whatever, new hobby. And they start caring a little bit less and a little bit less. And they're still really good, but they're not future proof anymore because they're not looking to the future anymore. This is what I need to do to sustain my life right now. And what I care about is,
dude's got a family and a bass boat. He's real comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's not so future proof anymore because he's not sitting in the class, and it shouldn't be just he or she is not just sitting in the class going, I love this stuff. Bring it. Oh, I can't wait to see this. Oh my God. They're not like that anymore. So it's trying to find the right pieces and keeping them engaged as best you can, right? I think the best you can do is remove obstacles from demotivation, and then understand like people evolve or devolve depending on how you want to look at it, and seeing what you can do to keep feeding that fire at least a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, their interests are going to change. They are going to ebb and flow a little bit, but can you get them to come back a little bit with the the ebb a little bit more towards auto repair and what's coming, and just stay engaged that way.
So, like, this is where the evil shop owner part of me comes in.
Are you talking about the part where you did that by opening on Saturdays?
Oh, I mean, well, Saturdays is a no-brainer. I mean, you don't care about serving your community if you're not open on Saturdays, clearly.
Drug dealers swipe cards at 2 a.m. Why are you not open all night? Anyhow.
You have to have passionate people if you're going to be the shop in town that everybody goes to when nobody can fix it, right? If you're not going to be that shop, if you're going to be that shop that can do 90% of the work that's out there and that sends the 10% to you guys, then you don't need that super high level. And then you can process and systematize it and duplicate and do more, right? So you got to figure out what your goal as a shop owner is.
I think the tricky part with that is 20 years ago, that was the shop that could do the 99% and send the 1% out. 10 years ago, they could do the 95 and set the 9% out, or set the 5% out, right?
Math is
now
hard.
We're down to the math is going the wrong way, including my math, right? But 95 and send the 5% out, right? Now it's, well, I can do the 90, I'll send the 10% to the other shop. So what's it get down to? Does it get down to when the 2025s are out of warranty, right? Because the technology's on an exponential curve still, and we're not even to the steepest part yet. That's the scary thing.
Well,
so when the 2025s come out of warranty, I mean, are you down to 85 and 15? Well, I do the 85% of cars. I send the other 15 out. So that's where the whole future proofing thing really comes in.
I think that's where the evil shop owner who owns a business for the purpose of generating a profit versus the technician who owns a business for the purpose of making money but fixing cars, because that's what they're passionate about, right? Because I'll tell you that guy who's doing 85 and shipping out 15% is still making more money more often than not than the dude that's spending all of the money necessary on tooling and training and equipment to be able to do 99. Because all he's doing is he's just scraping the gravy off the top.
Yeah, it gets dicey because I don't know what we have for reference. You know what I mean? Like, I think Brian and I have, and probably you too, that if we sit and think long enough, we can probably start rattling off some names, and we probably wouldn't do that on a podcast to out anybody, but you go back 20.
Mike actually has some pretty sharp technicians, so he's not that shop as much as he thinks he is. He's got sharp technicians.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, you go back 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever, and then those techs were the ones you looked up to, like they were on it. And then whatever happened, life happens, and they just lose interest, or it just gets to be so much. If you work on all car lines, it gets to be so much. Just the freaking tools, like, what laptop do I got to grab with this interface, and then make this subscription, or how do I log in? And oh my God, now they switched to 2-factor. I got to set that up. I haven't used this in 2 years. Geez, whatever. It can be a lot.
6 hours of updates to the software just to be able to use it. Oh God,
yeah. Otis, you can uninstall it and then brick the laptop, and then you got to buy a new laptop. Needed a new one anyways, but
that seemed personal. The laptop was going. That was the most technician thing I've ever heard when something breaks. It was probably no good anyways.
Needed it anyways.
That part was going to be broke anyways.
The guy I know said to follow the pictures, and I did it. And he had me go into the registry, and I did it. And then it stopped working.
For good. It was done.
So I followed the directions perfectly. And I don't know. I don't know where do you start seeing diminishing returns? I don't know on either side of it. Okay, so I'm gonna be careful. Equations have two sides. I don't know where, as that shop that, and again, depending on the model. If we're talking about like all makes all models, where you start saying no to more and more and more, and then the techs are doing less and less of certain things, then when does that start, and how long does it take to start affecting things where now you're finding yourself going, we might need to bring somebody else in to start doing this type of work because I don't have anybody here to do it. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just saw like the posts and the articles and the podcast titles about future-proofing your shop, and it all just seems so management related. Now, granted, one of the best ways to stay future-proof is to be profitable. The other thing, though, is it depends on the people. Like the boots on the ground, if they're not going to stay engaged and have their finger on the pulse of what's coming down the pipe, I don't think it matters what your SOPs are. I don't think it matters that you demand 80 hours of training from everybody. If they're not engaged, then they've just kind of lost that thirst. They still get the certificate for 80 hours of training, but how are you going to prove what they took away from it until the cars are showing up and they're like, oh, I don't know, I can't do that. Well, that class was 6 months ago. I don't remember any of it. I
was
don't
at
know.
the bar till 3 a.m. I can't remember that class.
I would see locally there's techs that were on top of stuff, and now there's no way they can handle a network issue. If I didn't fix, or ITN or Diagnostic Network or whoever, Phone a Friend doesn't work, the car's got to go down the road.
Phone a Friend.
Right.
I like Phone a Friend.
Is diag.net, is that yours?
Scott Brown.
That's Scott Brown's.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I don't know that stuff. Sorry. Apologies.
No.
Mike's falling asleep.
No, I was just trying to find ways to pull this back into like
something
management
interesting
conversation, or whiskey. Hey, you mentioned being up till 3:00 at the bar and not remembering that class. I've gotten to where I go to bed at like 9:30 at these training events because I'm so fried from the day. Are you going to start doing that now, Brian? If we have to record like for 6 hours at an event, you're trying to get like episode after episode.
My wins have wins, so I can. I never really kind of went to bed the last day of ASTA. I kind of just stayed up, and I was like,
every time I moved through the lobby, y'all were there.
I'm like,
didn't matter what time it was.
The last day, I was like, oh crap, it's 3:30. I'm supposed to ride with Carm to the airport at 5:30. I should probably go pack my stuff. I went upstairs, packed my stuff, came back down, flew home.
Yeah, and you and Tracy probably went up the elevator together, and she went to her room, and you went to your room, and then
she was early. She was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was early.
Lightweights.
Yeah.
Are they back from their whirlwind tour of different trade shows and events?
I think they just got home yesterday. I'm relatively certain.
What are the odds that we can get like Carmen Tracy unplugged on here? You think? I think that would be a lot of fun.
We might be able to make it happen.
Have they ever guest appeared on another podcast?
I think at an event we can make that happen. I think I know,
because I'd love to just interview Carm about what it's like having remarkable results and talking to all the people he talks to, and
right,
and all the conversations he's a part of. So
right,
he's definitely the most polished interviewer of our world for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Wonder how much prep work he puts into it.
Yeah, it probably helps him though that he's not a shop owner, not a tech. He has a background in the auto repair from the parts side.
Parts world, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not totally disengaged, but he's disengaged enough that it makes him super curious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps a lot where, I already kind of have my own ideas about whatever technology. So whatever you're saying, a lot of times I'm sitting there going, okay, you think that? No, that ain't true. That is not necessarily a good interviewer perspective or position to be in. But
give me a hot take. What's a common thing that you hear at these events that's just total bullshit?
Oh man,
He's got to sort through all of them. Hold on.
Yeah, you're right. I think the general idea that, from like a management perspective, I think just this hard work, intelligence, and all that equals success. Kind of like, you ever see those memes or whatever with the mountain,
the hustle and grind mentality?
Yeah, or the iceberg.
Right, the 80% of the work and the 20% that shows or whatever.
And without any of those, you're not going to be successful anyways. But depending on the level of success, and you don't go to a training class about this, but I think it's more for humility.
Mm-hmm.
Luck plays a huge role in success. Just, you can down a rabbit hole of what that means, but I just
think astronomical success, luck plays a role, but average level success, like it's like Bill Gates happened to grow up in the only high school in America that had a computer programming program at the time, right? That put him a little bit ahead of the
pretty
curve.
Lucky, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's like astronomical levels of success. There's some luck involved.
Sure.
Yeah. And levels gets weird because I don't know what that means, right? They did a study on like NHL players. The vast majority of them were born in the summer months. It's because they could start playing hockey in Pee-wees or whatever.
3 months earlier or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so they had this advantage. And it just keeps rolling, right? We're born in the USA. We're immediately, if you make over whatever, 35, 40,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of earners in the world. So
that's crazy.
Right. It just,
we're also in the top 1% of spenders in the world.
Technology standpoint, I think one is the sage on the stage type stuff where they just always seem to know exactly what to do, the right tests. It's easy. Just use logic. Look at the service information, this wiring schematic, and use this tool and that tool, and boom, the answer just jumps out at you.
Nobody talks.
So what you're saying is service information is bullshit and overrated.
You motherfucker. Nobody talks about when they went 6 hours the wrong direction, not even close to fixing the car, and then went home, took a shower, pet the dog, and then came up with something, and it just happened to work for no reason whatsoever or logic. Nobody talks about that. More of that luck.
Well, I mean, I think I don't remember who it was that I heard say this. It might have been one of you guys talking about how it feels like a lot of the classes right now are being written to impress their friends who are also coaches rather than to be applicable to the average technician that needs the education and information and like tangible processes and thought patterns that they can take back and use the next day.
There's a lot of diagnostic classes that are written to the 5% or the 1% or whatever the percent of the cars that you're talking about possibly having to send out because they have some sort of technology problem or diagnostic problem that's just, it's just too crazy to bother to deal with when you have freaking crap tons of brakes and wheel bearings and whatever else to do, right? There's a lot of classes that are being written towards those 5% of cars. And there's not a lot of classes that says, here, let me take your mid-level guy, and instead of him taking an hour to figure out that evap code that you're going to have 10 of a week, we're going to teach him how to do it in 18 minutes. There's not a lot of that out there. There really isn't. And there needs to be more of it for sure.
Yeah. A lot of wow factor type stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's more exciting, right? You have to put advanced in the title of the class in order to get anybody to sign up.
The advanced fundamentals of basic electricity.
Well, yeah, people assume fundamental means easy.
You know what, though? You don't have to put advanced anymore. We found out that shit works pretty good. It worked.
I've been telling people, man, you want to draw eyes, you just throw a little vulgarity in there, dude.
Like, we're going to have to move you guys to a bigger room. We signed
you
up
don't
to
want to
teach 20
curse?
people. Why is there 130 people in here?
If you're
Howard
not
Stern had
comfortable
that
with
figured
cursing,
out
just put some
decades
nudity.
ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I lost my train of thought. Where was I going? It's weird. I thought about nudity, and then everything else went out the window.
You went blank.
Well, but isn't it kind of insane that how many years into programming? We still have programming classes.
We have
Like
new
a lot of
technicians.
them. There's still so many shops that don't do
Programming
anything.
and ADAS classes. The thing that I don't understand really is a lot of it. Okay, programming arguably you can have some classes for, because there's basic ways to sign up to the service, through to the software, whether it's web based, you got to order something or whatever. But like the things I don't understand, like how many ADAS classes are we going to have? Because there's no class. You can't have a class long enough to teach how to do all the things. So an ADAS, you could sum up every ADAS class on earth with like, here's how you find the center line of a car and RTFM. Have a nice day. Like, what else do you need to know? Like, you can't teach it. There's too many processes. That they got like 8 million targets. I have a barn full of targets.
Yep.
I have a freaking barn full pallets, 4x8 pallets full of targets for ADAS, full of targets.
Is it not
How
yet
are
a
you gonna teach
situation?
all
Is
in
the
class?
technology not there where you can just have LCD monitors and it pulls the target up?
I think that's coming. I think Texa already has a system.
Yeah, Texa already has a windshield camera system too,
Autel,
right?
Yeah, Autel not Apex, sorry, at SEMA had a system, the IA1000. I don't think it's I don't think it's not available yet.
I just got the 900.
Well, they have to address.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, currently they have two. Are they 27, 25, 27-inch monitors for, like, if you can picture the Honda targets or the even Toyota, that they'll have them spread out, and it automatically kind of squares itself. If you get the main frame in a certain range, it will now auto
yes
align itself to the vehicle, square itself up, and then get the targets at the right height. The issue is the big target in the middle. Now, currently, I think they're just using the hard targets from like the MA600, the mobile frame.
Yep.
But I suspect, or not suspect, I know they're looking for a large matte finish, high definition TV or monitor to put in there that would then serve as, whatever your Subaru target, your Mercedes, Volkswagen, or the small, fill in for that third Toyota target in the middle. So you have the two monitors out to each side, and then that would be. I think that's coming. It's only reasonable.
What percentage of shops that have put their toe into the ADAS calibration and water are doing it profitably, you think?
The ones that got into it early, probably really well, especially if they have a fairly good flow of it. The ones just now getting into it, making the big investment with more competition already been out there. And I don't know if more cars have dynamics, to be honest.
I mean, are you guys making money doing it?
Yeah. But we probably do. We're probably up to 6 a day right now.
Okay.
On average.
What would you say your average calibration cost is?
What we bill for? Or?
Yeah, bill. Yeah.
So you have to show a discount for the insurance company. So it's for collision shops, 99%, which is probably a BS number. It's probably higher. It's for collision shops. So we have to show a discount to them. So we'll just say what the money we put in our pocket for a static is $400 per static. And then the dynamics, I think we're putting in, it's either $250 or $300 after the discount. So that's the real money per dynamic.
Average car, involved in a front end collision requires 2 to 3, typically 2 to 3 calibrations.
Yep.
So
and like if it's a surround view, we're probably charging a little bit more, or that will be the $400 one. And then if there's a radar, we might charge a little bit less
you're
as they
charging more.
stack. But there's quite a few tickets that leave for, a couple $1,000, $1,500.
Are the technicians that are experienced doing this in volume for you? Are they getting good efficiency and beating book time on it pretty regularly?
Yeah, and I would say I do the vast majority, and then I got one other guy that does it quite a fair number.
So for that $400 calibration, that's what, 2 hours for you? And how long does it take you to do it?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Nice. Yeah.
If we go really from keys in hand to keys out of hand, we'll just say 15,
half hour,
20 minutes. Yeah, half hour if things are kind of not going so good, half hour.
So would you call that key to key?
Something like that.
That's a reference. That's a reference. Anyway, well, dude, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed it. I would, in the interest of shameless self-promotion and trying to further my own endeavors and Brian's endeavors, I would like for us to come and say inappropriate things on your podcast at some point, if you're willing to have us.
I would enjoy the hell out of that. Yes, that would be great.
Are we allowed to say naughty words on your podcast?
You can definitely say naughty words. I don't know if you can say the actual words that you're referencing, though.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can say them, actually. I think Margaret dropped an F-bomb.
I would say, would Tracy bleep us in post-production?
Probably.
I feel like that would be pretty good to get bleeped on the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Yeah, I think the one
I guess so bleeped up.
You'd be pretty spicy.
I don't think they actually beeped it. I think they just kind of
skipped
did
it.
That. Yeah.
My little mixer thing that I have for the mobile setup, it has a bleep button. I can make a boop.
Come on.
It 100% does. It has all sorts of sound effects. I haven't used any of them yet, but I did a practice recording with my kids.
Sounds like an episode
used all
of
the
Hell's
sound effects.
It
has like the record screech. It has a sad trombone. It has a rim shot.
Who can we get on there where you're just going to have to like hold it for a while? What can we do? We could get Zeb talking about Jasper engines and
Dusty Harrison, man. He could probably.
Yeah.
He could probably break it.
I think so.
He could break the bleeper. That'd be cool.
All right. Well, hey, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you.